This is basically a revamped and redone version of my You're Reading Your Horoscope Incorrectly video from 2020 when I was just breaking out on TikTok and I needed to get something out to inform everyone, which explains how we should be reading our horoscopes and why. So this video is not going to be super long or complicated, but I definitely want to get across what exactly horoscopes are and therefore how you should be reading them and why most people are reading them incorrectly, but it's not their fault. So in astrology, we are always looking at some type of planetary chart, which for humans we call a natal chart. It shows all of the planets around the Earth at a given moment, and for a human natal chart, that is the snapshot of the planets when you were born and took your first breath. All of the planets fall into the 12 houses, which are segments of the chart representing different areas of life. As you can see, the first house, also known as the ascendant or the rising sign because the sun was ascending and coming up over the horizon at that time, kicks off the chain for the rest of the houses in your chart and is therefore the most important part of your chart simply in regards to setting up the rest of the chart. It doesn't mean that it has like more power or influence than any of the other house, but it does mean that the rising sign itself is so vital to know and get correct because it sets off the entire sequence of how the other houses fall. The rising sign does represent you, your body, your personality, your vitality in the entire chart, which represents your life. So when astrologers are writing horoscopes or you're looking at your upcoming astrology, you're seeing how the transiting sky in the outer wheel is impacting your birth chart in the inner wheel. We can see where the current planets are falling into your natal houses, and different areas of life are activated for different periods of time in different ways, which is why you need to be reading horoscopes based on your rising sign, and not necessarily your sun sign unless it happens to be the same as your rising sign. Why? Because the sun and the moon represent certain energies. You know, the sun is a search for knowledge or achievement. The moon is a search for comfort or feeling safe. But they fall into certain houses. They fall into certain areas of life that demonstrate where you're searching for knowledge or where you're aiming to feel safe. Whereas the rising sign is literally an area of life that happens to be the first house and set off the chain reaction for all the rest of the houses. So reading your horoscope has nothing to do with deciding which sun, moon, or rising sign you resonate with more. It does not mean you need to resonate more with your rising sign versus your sun sign, or if you resonate with your Mars sign that you should be reading for Mars sign. Reading your horoscope for your rising sign is important because the rising sign literally sets up the chain and how the rest of the houses fall. And you are an entire chart with various planets and various signs. However, we need to read our horoscopes based on rising sign because it sets up how the rest of the areas of life fall, and for horoscopes we're seeing how planets fall into the areas of your life in the houses. To reiterate, horoscopes have nothing to do with the reading for which sign you resonate with most, whether that's sun, moon, rising, or any other sign. Horoscope reading has to be based on rising sign because that is how the rest of the sky impacts your chart. If an astrologer is not aware of this, I have no idea how they're writing horoscopes, given we move the chart and the sign of the first house to write new horoscopes based on a different sign. So for example, I'm a Virgo sun, Libra moon, and have 3 planets in Leo, but I'm still reading for Capricorn rising because that is how the rest of my houses are set up, dictating the areas of life that planets then fall into. And yes, transiting planets will form aspects to other planets in your chart to demonstrate ease, tension, or other dynamic relationships, but the areas of life that these fall into always depends on what is set off by your rising sign. So, hope this helps. Let me know if you need more explanation or clarity down below, and I will see you in the next one.
Oh, there is one thing you're all forgetting, but endless morning will turn to night.